Well, thank you, Chairman, and thank you to the committee. I appreciate everyone staying here. I was wondering if I should say this as a joke or not, but I haven't been here this late for a hearing at the State House since marriage equality. So I'm glad to see you all here. There's a lot of new faces I don't know. Actually, the only face I recognize is Chairwoman Ajello, and so thank you for staying tonight. As the Chairman said, I do serve on the Cranston School Committee. My name is Jeff Gale. I'm here representing myself tonight. I'm not representing the committee. I just want to make that clear. However, that being said, the Cranston School Committee did pass a resolution supporting Bill 5435, the No Guns in School. And I want to come here tonight and tell you why I support that bill. And the reason is because as has been talked about, there have been a lot of precautions put in. Our building's now locked. We have a policy that does that. We have video cameras. They have to come in and sign. They have to have the badge. We've instituted the ALICE training. If you don't know what the ALICE training is, it's someone here basically called a shelter in place. It is much more than that. It is very robust. We put it into place with the Cranston Police Department. They're a great partnership for us. And what ALICE is, if you go to alicetraining.com, you can find out what the acronym stands for. I can't remember. It stands for 5 different things: evading, get out if you can, barricade the doors, basically, tell people what's happening, and then actually literally fight if you have to. Take a desk, take a chair, throw it at the perpetrator. It's tough. It's been proven to work, unfortunately, but it's something we've been doing, and it's been really great for our schools. And the reason I'm here tonight is because my worst fear as a school committee member is that something happens at one of my schools, and I call them my schools because I really feel that they are. I have an attachment to these schools. I grew up in Cranston. I graduated from Cranston East. I live on the eastern side of Cranston now. I represent many of the schools that I went to as a child, and so this is very important to me. And as I said, my worst fear is to have something happen. Even with all these precautions, we can never stop it from happening. As Representative Filippi said, didn't recognize your name. You're right, Representative. It will happen. It will happen at some point. You can't stop it. But if that does happen in one of my schools, I only want a trained professional there with a gun. Now we've heard a lot of testimony from people today, from the Second Amendment Coalition and others, saying that they train, and I'm sure that they do. And they go to the competitions, and those training in those competitions, I'm sure, are very rigorous. However, I doubt, and I don't know this for sure, but I doubt it is not as comprehensive as the training that the police officers have to go through regularly. And so what that means is that we don't know someone with a permit to carry how often they train. I do not want someone in my schools with a gun shooting at a perpetrator because as we talked about tonight, we said we just gave out a random number of 75% of all shots miss, and the question is, those missed shots, where do they go? If you're in a classroom, if you're in the cafeteria, if you're in the gym, you're with other students. Those students are at risk for any bullet. Doesn't matter if it's a good guy or a bad guy. Are at risk for any bullet hitting them. Even if we reverse that to 25%, that 3 out of every 4 shots actually go into the body of the perpetrator. There's still that one bullet. Where does that one bullet go? Do you want to take that chance? I don't want to take that chance. So what I want is a trained professional. I want to know that the person there with the gun is trained and is ready to do it at all time. And once again, I don't want to disrespect the people who talked about the training. What I'm worried about is that even if 90% of the people with permits to carry train regularly, even more rigorously than police officers do, there's still that 10%. We've talked tonight. There's about 3,600 people in the state of Rhode Island, I believe. I could have my numbers wrong. That means 360 people don't train effectively. Do you really want that person in your school shooting at a perpetrator and missing as many as 3 out of 4 times? I certainly don't. Thank you very much.
Representative Wilkinson. Thank you for your testimony, Councilman. So it sounds like you're very passionate about making sure that there aren't any guns in the Cranston schools, and I appreciate your position. So my question to you is, what is Cranston doing, if anything, to make sure that the children themselves are not bringing guns into the school?
That's a good question. It's honestly that's a challenge to present because you just don't know. There's almost 11,000 students, and I admit that's hard to regulate, hard to understand, and so we haven't really taken any specific actions. I'll be honest with you, and I'm actually curious. Why do you ask that question?
Because no one has spoken about that so far this evening. They're talking about people that have been trained or have gone through a very extensive concealed weapons permit process. They've spoken about peace officers who've gone through the training, but no one is talking about, although the chairman had mentioned earlier in the evening to one of the witnesses, are you proposing that there be metal detectors and so forth at the schools? We've spoken about Alice and all of the other security measures, but my concern, quite frankly, having gone to school inner city, I'm originally from Brooklyn. I know you can't tell from my accent, surprise. But no one is mentioning it. No one is mentioning anything about what they're doing, if there's locker checks, if there's backpack checks, or what, if anything, is being done.
We do have school resource officers who are dedicated to the schools, and they spend, I believe, most of the time at the middle schools and the high schools.
Yes, I know.
And their job is to talk to the students who might present that danger, to get to know them and to see if there's anything going on.
And the resource officer also does DARE, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Right, yeah. And so, but there's still drugs in the schools. I'm just wondering what, if anything...
There's never a perfect answer.
I understand that, and same thing with this situation. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to find out if any of the schools in the state are talking about what they're doing. We, as legislators, we're trying to figure out how to get our arms around stopping guns or regulating guns from people with CCW.
Let me ask you
So I'm just curious.
So I'm assuming you don't want students to have guns in schools because they're not properly trained, right? And that they're not old enough to be responsible for it, right?
Well, I first of all, I don't think that it's appropriate for a student to bring a gun into the school.
I agree.
Whether or not he or she is properly trained is a separate issue.
I'm sorry?
Whether or not he or she is properly trained in the use of a gun is a separate issue. That's what the family decides to do. You understand what I'm saying?
But,
I mean, we've got kids that are Boy Scouts that are getting their badges. They're properly trained. I still wouldn't want them to bring a gun into the school because they're kids. Yeah. And their mechanisms for making decisions. I mean... don't ask me. I don't think a kid at the age of 16...
That actually begs the question about my point about 10% of the permit holders who do not train regularly. Do you want them in our schools? If you don't pass this bill, that's going to happen.
Well, again, I'm just trying to understand looking at it full circle, what we're actually doing from a 360-degree view with regards to taking guns out of the schools. Again, I don't have an answer. Because you are a councilman, I just wanted to hear what, if anything, you're doing in that. And I could tell you that I came from the city of Warwick on the city council 6 years, and they instituted Alice and so forth, but I still haven't been able to get any answers with regards to that.
Well, fortunately, as far as I know, and I have a 30,000-foot view, I'm told of things, but we don't have an issue with students bringing guns to school, except for one time.
Well, you don't know whether or not you have the issues because they haven't discharged or they haven't brandished the guns.
That's true, but that's quite honestly, that's all supposition. I mean, we could say it's 80%, we could say it's 10%. It doesn't really matter. We don't know.
But you could say the same thing about adults having access to Cranston schools. You don't know how many people with CCW permits have gone in and out of Cranston schools for years. You wouldn't know because they're not supposed to be brandishing guns.
I want them to stop bringing their guns into our schools. Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you.
Representative Knight.
But we do know, would you agree with me that we do know that if we have absolutely less guns in schools, we have less of a risk of an accident?
Absolutely. That's also another reason I support this bill. So, okay, thank you.